Okay, y'all, basketball shenanigans. Basketball, NCAA basketball coaches are their own worst enemy. Let's talk about what's happening at LSU, where newly rehired coach Will Wade is essentially just recruiting old professional players to play on his collegiate team. Let's get into it. Okay, so you might recall that Will Wade was fired back in 2022 for some sort of recruiting violation mess and was rehired in 2026 as the head coach of LSU Tigers. Okay, basketball. When he joined the team, when he rejoined the basketball program, there was one player on the roster. And Coach Wade made it clear right off the rip that he had planned to recruit international players. What he should have said was he was going to try to put a whole bunch of pros on a collegiate basketball team. Let me tell you what he did. Okay, so one of the first recruits he's gotten is former St. John's player R.J. Luis Jr. R.J. is 23 years old. He's Dominican American. He was the Big East Player of the Year in 2024-2025. That was his junior year. He gave up his final year of eligibility and went to take his talents to the league. He took his talents to the league and went undrafted. The league was not looking for his talents. Okay? But he ended up signing a two-way contract with the Utah Jazz in June of 2025. Now, I think RJ is ineligible, and I feel confident that the NCAA is going to say that he's ineligible, so they're probably going to need a lawsuit to get RJ Luis Jr. on the team. But right now, they've signed him up. 23-year-old. All right. Next, they went and got Senegalese Italian player Salou Niang, who was the 58th pick of the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2025. So he was low second round. Okay. He got drafted, did not sign an NBA contract, played professional ball in Italy. Okay. So we got G League dude, 23. We got Italy dude, 22. But wait, there's more. Okay, because we also have 23-year-old Brazilian forward Marcio Santos, who last year played in the Euro League. Also a professional player, 23 years old. What we doing, people? You know, when you say it can't get any worse, I promise you it can get worse. So let me take us further down this hole. So they are also chasing 25-year-old Yam Madar. Mr. Madar is an Israeli player who won the Euro Cup last year. Now, Mr. Madar was drafted by the Celtics, but do you know when he was drafted by the Celtics? I'm going to let you guess when he was drafted by the Celtics. I'll wait. 6 years ago, 2020, at the beginning of COVID, Mr. Madar got drafted by the Celtics. Now, he did not play any games in the NBA, but he's been over in Europe playing for the last several years. Okay, so all of these dudes are old pro players. It is not anybody's fault that you made the wrong decisions or you just were not as talented as you thought in order to take your talents to the league in any event. I just got a question. What are we doing here? Why is this coach recruiting old dudes who old enough to have alimony payments and paying somebody else's mortgage? Why are we doing that? Basketball coaches, NCAA basketball coaches, you are your own worst enemy because you're trying to fill your team with professional players and act like they're college players. But guess what? They're not. And we see it. Number one, basketball coaches are their own worst enemies and are creating their own problems by trying to continue to recruit these old dudes. Number two, this is just straight math. It is no judgment. It's just straight math. This focus on international players crams down the opportunities for U.S. players. In the era of fixed roster slots, where there can only be so many athletes If you choose them from one location, you can't get them from another. So by definition, a focus on international players crams down the opportunities for U.S. players. Also, finally, old dudes who used to be pro, who trying to come back for this NIL money, with the average age is 22, 23 years old, you are cramming down the opportunities for the high school recruits. This is college basketball. This is not a mulligan where you're like, I want to just try that again. That's not what this is. This is college ball, and we've got pro guys coming back to college ball and coaches actively seeking them out. This is why one of the reasons the NCAA is like, we got to do something about this eligibility thing, because we got coaches like Coach Wade here who will go get a 30-year-old if he could and put him on the team. Come on now. Okay. Meanwhile, 45% of all the men's basketball athletes that entered the transfer portal in 2026, you know where they are? They're over there on mama's couch. And now since the summer, they literally are on the couch because they're not in school. Because once you enter the portal, unless you withdraw, you have walked away from your scholarship. Those dudes are done. Now, a few of them will get picked up between now and when school starts. But 45% of them sitting on the couch. All right. So I don't know what to say about the college coach that's recruiting the pros. We will see what happens and how it turns out. But, I think that's jacked up. But when winning is the objective, whatever. As always, let me know what you think.